Let's be honest, nothing boosts confidence quite like great hair. But if you're seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. And that's why you need Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there just don't have. They come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions, so you can find the one that works for you. And they even have options with added hair vitamins and supplements for extra support. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz. Just answer some questions and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. And through Hers, everything is 100% online. So no pharmacy trips, doctor's office visits, or insurance required. Plus, treatments start at just $35 a month. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KKC. That's FORHERS.com/KKC for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/KKC. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. As the temperature starts rising, I feel that familiar urge to refresh my closet, but I'm not wasting money on pieces that I'll only wear once or for just one season. Quince changes that. Their clothes are timeless, lightweight, and far more elevated than anything else at this price. It finally feels like my wardrobe matches my standards. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. The best part? Everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury, but without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. For example, my favorite thing to get right now, 100% organic cotton cropped cardigan. Get it in vintage rose. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/KKC to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KKC.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Hope that you've been having a great week. I've got a great episode for you. Back with me is my friend Chelsea DeVantez, an Emmy-nominated writer, best-selling author, and podcast host. She is the host of Glamorous Trash podcast, an absolute must listen. She talks about celebrity memoirs, a lot of pop culture stuff, a lot of reality shows. It's going to be right up your alley. You've got to get her book if you have not already read it. It is called I Shouldn't Be Telling You This, But I'm Going to Anyway. This talks about her nomadic childhood, how she was co-parented by her mom and her godmother, living on the brink of financial instability. She had a traumatic abusive relationship that culminated in drive-by shootings, her experience as a domestic violence survivor, also the influence of pivotal women, and then her survival and flourishing in Hollywood. If you love memoirs, you're going to love that one, so make sure that you order it. In this episode, we talk about, number one, the Hilaria Baldwin memoir, because she covered it on her podcast and did the great service of reading it for us. So we get into that. Also, we talk about season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. She talked about the first season with me, if you remember, on this podcast. So we get into the thick of it. And then also we talk about the Judd family, Truth Be Told, which was that 4-part Lifetime docuseries. Do you remember that I interviewed the director, Alex Dean? Well, we talk a little bit more in depth about it because Chelsea read all of their memoirs. So Naomi, Winona, and Ashley's memoirs. So we talk about what we thought about the doc series and just their lives in general. So if you're someone who is always looking for a great book to read, I personally love nonfiction books. I love a great memoir, and she reads through all of them. And she's also someone who works in Hollywood. She's a writer. She, again, has the most astute observations, is most hilarious. And I always love working with her on these episodes because she's so much fun to talk to, but it leaves you something to think about. So we're going to talk about, again, those topics. We're giving you a lot of stuff that you can order, especially this summer if you're looking for a great summer read. And, I should also tell you, J. Randy Taraborelli is going to come back next month. Remember, he told us he wrote the book about JFK. So one of my favorite beach reads is Jackie, Public, Private, Secret. Well, His next book is about JFK, and it's written in the same style where it's like an oral history, and I can't wait to read it. So he's going to come back next month to talk about it. As always, you've got to remember, go to katecasey.substack.com because I've got my book club list, and you can click through all of the options, and there is an episode that accompanies all of those, and typically with the author. So it's much fun. So you can listen to the interview before you read the book or after. It doesn't really matter. It's a ton of information that you're just going to love, especially if you like to sink into a book, maybe at the beach, maybe in a quiet corner of your house, wherever it may be. I've got you covered. So here is my interview with Chelsea DeVantez. Chelsea, I feel like I have so much to talk to you about. I don't even know where to begin. How are you?
I'm filled with content. You know, some of it's bad, some of it's good, but I've just been taking in the content this summer.
We love to talk about books, and I know that you have read a book that has been on my mind and did a whole episode about it. So I wanted you to give us just like a sneak peek on what to expect. Tell me about the book done by none other than Hilaria Baldwin.
So I think the correct pronunciation in Spanish is Hilaria Baldwin, but I think either or. So I will say my guest for that episode is a favorite guest on your podcast, Chris DeRosa. We are his podcast mothers. We mothered. He thanks us in the yearly post. We mothered Fixing Famous People together. I'm honored to be in a relationship with you with such a beautiful son. And he is the Monster Memoir correspondent. So he was booked for Hilaria Baldwin from the jump. That book made me, not only did it like make me sick, but we do a lot of research and like we don't just take the book at face value. Annoyingly, right. We look stuff up, and Chris and I recorded a whole 2-hour podcast, right? Had all the research. And then as I was going through the edit, I was like, let me just like quickly check that. And the edit was a fucking nightmare because there were so many quiet lies within normal sentences.
Wow.
Like there was so much to fact check and undo and do pickups and explain things. Like literally, do you remember Alec Baldwin having a stalker?
Of course.
Okay. So it's I guess funny. So when all this like, hey, like, Hilaria Baldwin has been like faking to be Spanish or whatever, breaking news from Lenny Briscoe on Twitter. And then later another woman picked it up on Instagram stories. The very, very, very first person to whistleblow Hilaria Baldwin was Alec Baldwin's stalker.
That's right. Now I'm going back in time. Yes. The blonde woman who was like deeply in love with him and nuts.
And went to Rikers Island.
Yes.
Okay. That's also how I remembered it. And in the book, she's like, the day we got engaged, our violent stalker like came to the house and terrorized us, right? And I was like, I truly felt for her. I'm like, that is horrible. That's horrible, right? And then I was like, let me just quickly do some Googling. And yes, a stalker. Yes, bananas. But there was so much more nuance to it. Like the woman was a movie producer. Like a well-established movie producer. This wasn't like a random lady off the street. Right. She also was foreign and had an accent. And Alec Baldwin was dating them both at the same time.
What?
So I think and listen, you can date someone and they can become a stalker. That's often how it goes. It's just that they presented it as like random fan of Alex, like became obsessed with him. So this was a woman that he had engaged with in some manner because when he went to court about it, he was like, I don't know that woman. She slept with this other guy. And then the other guy takes the stand and is like, no, I didn't. Alec just said that because Alec's been sleeping with this woman and he's trying to like blame it on me. Then Alec is like, I've never slept with that woman. Then that woman presents correspondence between her and Alec that are like, have some romantic elements to it. And one of them, she's like, if you're not going to be with me, I'm moving on. I'm going to go fuck this other guy. And he's like, please use protection, my sweet dear. Like, I'm getting that quote a tiny bit wrong, but he's like, please use protection when you like fuck someone else. Why would you care about that unless you planned on circling back? I don't know. Again, all of this is, I didn't study the court case. I just went far enough to be like, were missing so much.
Yeah.
And then like there were Post reporters, which are, you know, usually quite vile people. So I'm not like giving anything to the New York Post, who wrote articles of like, what you've painted this woman as is like horrifying. And like, this shouldn't have happened to her. And like, it was just complicated and messy. And so so the book is riddled with tiny things like that, where I'm like, wait a minute, were you actually dating two women at once with accents? Couldn't choose which. She found out you were two-timing her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you propose to Hilaria? Is it why she went crazy because a month ago y'all were on a date? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's not what they've presented.
She was more an agreeable candidate for wifery, you know? But the other woman, what kind of accent did she have?
It's Genevieve Sabarine. That sounds like a French name to me.
Sounds French.
Let me see. Okay, so she's from Montreal, so she has a French accent.
Wow. And the plot thickens.
Yeah. And I think like, so anyways, but it's things like that where it's like, that is true. Like she did do a lot of like harassing behavior. I think she was not stable, but also was this someone you were dating at the same time when you met Hilaria? You know what I mean?
Were you gaslighting this woman? She snapped and then now you're rewriting history for your fairy tale, which is not completely accurate.
And she really did go to Rikers for 7 months. And so
Rikers, Jesus.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you fuck up in New York, y'all.
Wowzers.
Intense. But then there's other like really funny parts of the book. Like the story I can't get over is, so she's, I think why the book makes you like ill is that she plays coy. Like she'll be like, I don't know why I've had to spend so much of my life explaining who I am. And it's like, you know why? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, and then half the book is her holding these petty grudges towards other like moms for like Hampton mom pettiness. But it's like, you know, that's not why we read your memoir, your Hilaria, like your Hilarious Baldwin memoir. We're not here because like one mom was mean to you about a cupcake at a birthday party. So half the book is like her settling scores with Hampton moms. And you're just like, what's happening?
What?
She also doesn't, she's like, here's some like helpful things for like breastfeeding and stuff. And it's like, I don't want that. I want to know how in 10 years you had 7 children. That, and also like if that, and you know, I don't want to cast, the book puts you in an icky place. Because now I'm like here being like, have you really had 7 children in this small amount of time? That seems impossible. But like, I don't want to cast doubt on someone's pregnancy. Like, I don't want to be here. But also like, why are you not talking about what it's like to go through this extraordinary labor of giving birth, postpartum, and then get pregnant immediately over and over again for a decade?
I mean, I have 5 kids. People ask me all the time, why do you have so many kids? I don't have any problem with that. And then I go through the explanation. Well, I felt like I was building my family from the ground up. Most people have lots of relatives and they spend a lot of time with them and they probably don't have the same pang. I wanted to build a family from the ground up. I pictured the Thanksgiving table in the future, like filled with people. I love the experience of pregnancy. I love labor. I don't have a problem going through that. What you're saying is that it seems as if there's a lack of context. It's just like, we have 7 children that miraculously appeared, and let me tell you how to breastfeed.
Yes. And like she'll go through the first birth experience, and Alec Baldwin is honestly such a monster during it that you're like, how did you choose to do this again? Like literally, like he's like, won't go to the hospital with her till he like walks the dogs. And she's like, well, it's because he has OCD. He had to. And it's like, did he? And then she's like, and then on the way to the hospital, as I'm like going into labor, he's like answering emails. And our assistant had to say like, hey, that should probably wait. And then she makes jokes of like, I'd rather do it alone. Like, it's easier for me to go into labor without Alec there. I can't handle him without an epidural. Ha ha. And it's like, why are you doing this over and over again? He sounds really bad at being a father in this part of it. But then she doesn't go into the other labors, which like, I guess is fine, except like a huge part of people being mad at you is them being like, you're faking this to sell. The part that it would be truly evil if it's what's happening is for a long time, she was selling the bounce back. Your body can look like this postpartum.
Yeah, right.
6 weeks later, you can be in lingerie. Here's how you do yoga with a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
That would be especially egregious to other moms if you didn't actually
without question
carry that child. So
without question.
So, but that being said, like, I don't want to like, that's why you're like,
but you're like, you led me to the water. I'm going to take a dip in it because you led me here.
Yeah. And then also like, I don't want your breastfeeding tips. I don't think moms who are currently breastfeeding, like this isn't like your arena. This isn't your expertise.
Right.
And then, you know, she has explanations for like why they used a surrogate while she was pregnant with the other kid, because there's 2 children who are like 4 months apart.
Was it the desperation to have a sister for Carmen?
No, it was, according to her book, it is that she and Alec were using IVF to get pregnant for their 6th child, and she had miscarriages. And it's a pretty sad part.
I think I remember that. I do remember her posting about that.
And she came to believe, and she's like, I know this is wrong, but I came to believe that like, if I got pregnant through IVF, I was always going to miscarry. And then I got pregnant through fucking, I guess, but I still wanted to use this other embryo and I believed I couldn't carry it. And so we had a surrogate for this. It's the 6th or 7th child. I forget the order. What I heard elsewhere, not in the book, is that she wanted to be able to breastfeed both children. And so that would make sense, right? She's breastfeeding this newborn. So to have the surrogate pregnant around the same time would help her breastfeed both. I'm like, well, that's a better explanation than the IVF thing.
I think that the reason, I can't speak for someone, but what I've surmised from afar is that when she met him, Alec at the time was vehement, like he needs his privacy. Like, leave me alone. How could people be so intrusive? Then he marries her and suddenly she's like a correspondent for Access Hollywood and they're giving the tours of the nursery. And I thought, he's lost his mind. What is going on? So every time she had a child, she got attention. And she's clearly somebody who feels like she needs to be the center of attention of all time. But backdooring it your way into the entertainment industry, like, she's not a singer. She's not a dancer. She's not an actor. She's a celebrity because she's married to one. And the only way she would ever get attention is every time she had a baby.
Well, yeah. And I think, but the thing is like, there's so many ways to get attention. And I think the e-correspondent thing is so crushing because she literally says in the book, I don't know anything about celebrities. I didn't know Alec Baldwin was famous.
Well, we know that was a lie. Chris can go off on that.
Of course. But get this, till 6 months after we were married.
Do you think that the ghostwriter is like, I can't believe I have to put this in words?
I don't know that there's a ghostwriter. I think there's an editor that's like, yeah, I bought this book for these shenanigans.
Okay.
If there's a ghostwriter, they should be taken out back and pushed off a cliff. Like,
right.
Like this is the writings. It's everything about it is horrible and disorienting. But like and she even puts in the book, she's like, I thought about not putting in this book because I know people are going to think it's not real, but I didn't know Alec Baldwin was famous until 6 months after we were married. And I'm like, okay, so and you still chose to do it. Like this explains a lot because this is the most impossible psychotic thing I've ever heard. You had an entire marriage to a man and didn't know he was famous. Even at the point of marriage when paparazzi wants your photos, like, come on. Anyways, all to say, so then why are you a celebrity correspondent 2 months later if you know nothing? She was like, right. I don't know anything. And she, multiple times she's like, I lived under a rock or a yoga mat. And it's like, then what? Okay. But here's the story that I love the most. This is one of the only actual, like, this is funny. She says that, so very coded. This is, oh God, fuck. See, everything in her book is like actually half sad, which is that she talks about struggling with an eating disorder. And then she talks about not letting her kids eat gluten or sugar or processed anything, right?
You can kind of tell that in the show when you watch it, that it seems like there's a lot going on and that was heavy on my heart. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like this really horrible thing where sort of under the guise of health, you can see that she's passing on really strict and perhaps unhealthy like eating ideas to the kids. And so then she has a story. I mean, she has insane stories about like not knowing that cupcakes have paper on them and like trying to impress a Hampton mom who was like, your kids don't eat gluten. And she's like, no, we love gluten. Here, Carmen, eat a cupcake. And the mom has to be like, you're supposed to take the paper off a cupcake because Hilaria had no idea because she's like never seen gluten or cupcakes in her life. Like it's stories like that where it's like, why are you even trying?
That makes me feel like, are you actually the hands-on parent?
That makes me feel like something's wrong in your brain to think you could pass this off as a real story.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, back to the story. So they're at I forget if it's either a hotel in the Hamptons or like a party in the Hamptons, but they're at some place where they're around a pool. It's the Hamptons. And there's like a catering tray of bread. And Carmen keeps going and just slamming that bread, right? She's grabbing a piece and she's eating it. And a celebrity woman is nearby. And Hilaria says, Carmen, why don't you stop eating bread and wait and see if you're actually hungry? And the celebrity goes, if she wants to eat bread and she's hungry, you should let her. And the celebrity grabs a piece of bread and says, here, Carmen, want another piece of glutinous bread? And gives her the bread. And Hilaria's humiliated. She's mom humiliated. And she makes Alec take the children inside. And she gets the courage to say, I don't have a problem with her eating bread. I just don't want her to get a tummy ache, even though she's already said the kids aren't allowed to have that shit. So anyways, then later that night,
oh my God.
according to Hilaria, the celebrity woman is stumbling drunk, falling all over herself, slurring her words. And she says, I gave your child so much bread and walks away. And I'm just like, I love the fan fiction. I love the fan fiction.
Like it sounds so made up.
It's so unbelievably made up, but in the most fun way. And I'm just like, I don't know. Did Kelly Ripa like bump into a Hamptons tray and like bread fell off and your daughter ate it and now you want to settle a score in your memoir? Yeah. Who was it? That's the question. Who was it? I think who I want it to be is Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, I would. Yes, that sounds like a really good selection. Yes.
So the book is just, it's like nothing that you want it to be, but it's also hilarious and tangled and insane. And also I think the big thing I've come away with feeling is that like, you know how Steve Bannon's strategy was to flood the zone,
yes,
which is still what Trump is doing, which is just like put so much stuff out there that like you can't follow logic. You can't draw conclusions.
Right.
I think Hilaria Baldwin has done an incredible job of flooding the zone.
Yeah.
Because I made it through that entire episode. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't Alec Baldwin give a quote to the press that he like couldn't understand what her parents were saying because their accent is so thick when like they don't have accents at all. But you just like, there's so much to get through. You never even make it to things like that.
Mm-hmm. You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your old wireless bill. Where you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back, and that's why so many are switching to Mint Mobile. With plans starting at $15 a month, Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless service on the nation's largest 5G network. The coverage and speed that you're used to, but way less money. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you're going to be chilling, literally and financially. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Think about how much you're going to be saving with Mint Mobile. With all these kids in my house, I'm looking at different phone options, and this is a steal. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/realitylife. That's mintmobile.com/realitylife. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. There are so many things in life we just never get around to. Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, the little things that don't really make huge differences in our lives. Yet, There's one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with SelectQuote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. If you have high blood pressure, no problem. If you have diabetes, that's fine too. And even if you have heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Head to SelectQuote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. SelectQuote, they shop and you save. So get the right life insurance for you for less at SelectQuote.com/realitylife. Go to SelectQuote.com/realitylife today and get started. That's SelectQuote.com/realitylife. Okay, a couple quick questions. Does she talk about Alex's relationship with her family?
No.
Does she talk about friends at all? Like, do you get a sense that she has friends in any capacity?
Yeah, so she's really friendly with the saleswoman at Cartier who sold her engagement ring when Alex sent her a loan to buy it.
Alex sent Hilaria a loan to buy her own ring.
He said, go with your friends to pick out the ring. It'll be fun for like you and the girls. But then when she gets to the story, like the friends aren't a part of the story, but she says she's now friends with the Cartier salesman who bullied her into buying a ring she didn't like for herself for her engagement. Yeah. Yes. Their relationship also happens really fast. So she wouldn't give timelines, of course. Okay. But like they're married within a year of knowing each other.
The selection of all the super Spanish names, was that a choice that she made on her own? Did he have any involvement?
She didn't say anything about it, but then would say things like, my kids love being Tio and Tias to Ireland Baldwin's child. And I'm like, why are they Tio and Tias to Ireland's child and not aunt and uncle? Like, what are we thinking about here? And she goes by, she has the grandkids, like Ireland's daughter, call her abuelita.
Okay.
But no explanation. She at one point prints text messages from a friend that she went to like a multicultural high school program with, who was like, you've always been multicultural. The book is horrifying. She misuses third culture kid. She talks about code switching. Someone taught her the word code switching. She uses that throughout the book, but like ignores that like the context of code switching is not what she was doing. Mm-hmm. But technically code switching is, switching between dialects and ways of speaking. But like you're usually doing it for a reason, or you code switch for cultural reasons. And like she leaves that out. I mean, she just misuses all these words that are really important for complicated identities. And then she just says like she's a multi-mix. And I'm like, what you mean is bilingual, which is sick. I would love to be bilingual, but just say bilingual, but she can't.
Wow. Well, do you think, unfortunately, this is going to end with another book?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think she's got like yoga and recipes and all kinds of bullshit to roll out. But again, they flooded the zone. People don't care. They're just like, yep, old crazy pants.
Yeah. Wow. I do have to say, watching that show, you realize in retrospect that all those pictures that were taken in the midst of that scandal where, like they're feeding horses, it's their backyard, like, which is fenced in, like they set it up. So they complain about intrusion, but then they set the stuff up.
That's so insane.
So insane.
I know. I mean, well, so listen, someone in our Patreon did the math on 7 kids just going to private school in New York City.
What is it?
Not counting nannies, not counting health insurance, not counting your own rent, not counting food. It is $7 million.
Bonkers.
So I just can only assume they're doing this for money, because if I were her, and I think if you were her, let's just pretend we made the choices she made up until whenever that Twitter story broke. I live in rural Kansas now, and all the money we've made will give us a great life till the day we die. Like, I'm not staying in New York City being like, we still need to be millionaires and miserable.
I think she stays in New York City because she still believes that she's like a movie star and that, she needs to see her fans.
I think something is deeply, darkly, sadly wrong. And it makes me really sad to read it in the book.
Wait, one last question. Does she go through the kids' personalities? Like, do you get a sense that she's a mother who really, it sounds pretty simple, but it's important that she knows each child, like spends time with them?
I did not get that sense. All I can say is that all the kids are on the cover of the book, and Carmen, who is 11, is in full glam, full face of makeup, and the other kids are not. And that kind of told me what I needed to know.
Yeah. Wow. Wowzers. Okay. So everybody needs to go and listen to that episode. It's 2 hours.
That's right.
Wow.
I went in and I did, like, Chris and I spoke, and then there's times where I come in and be like, and also here's the other research that we found.
Wow. Okay, good. All right.
It was a lot.
Another episode that you did with Joe Piazza was an analysis of season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, I always love your takes because you lived in Utah and you were adjacent to a family that were deeply faithful. So you look at this show through a completely different lens. We've talked about it last season, what you thought of the first season. What do you think of the second season of this show?
First off, I just want to give a shout out to the producers who really got their shit together this season. You know what I mean? They backed off. They let them live a little. It was like, they were like, you know what? Like, just let them do their thing around an influencer event that costs $7, 2 barrels of hay, and a magazine insert. Just sit them in a circle and get them talking. So I loved this season. And I mean, there's just so much to love about this season. It's so perfect. So one thing that really makes me laugh is that, like, they, in housewife shows and Kardashian shows, it's like, we're at a restaurant, we're drinking, we're at an activity, we're whatever. The amount of times they just sit these women in a circle and say talk is so Mormon to me, because that's what you do. You go to the house, you sit in a circle. Listen, I was there, when I was, 5 to like 14, but we would do scrapbooking parties. I feel like that's phased out more now, but it's like, sit in a circle and talk, which really makes me laugh. I think this show is extremely dark. This is one of the darkest reality shows on TV, which is why I like it. I lived a dark life, love to see dark stuff. And, the layers and nuance, like we did 3 episodes on my podcast about it. And I feel like I could do 10 more, because another thing that really made me laugh is that, like, there is nothing more Mormon to me than learning a choreographed dance to humiliate your friend Jen at a party. Like, like the amount of choreographed dances and activities we learned. And so them flying in a Chippendales dancer to, like, do a humiliation, I was like, yes, this is how they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Demi, I think, just when she said she was the fan favorite and everyone knew that, I was like, did that hit your algorithm? Didn't hit mine. Demi was never Whitney. Whitney is an incredible villain. I think she's going to be back in the saddle season 3 because Demi's her only friend. She will lead the villainry. Villains have to believe in that what they're doing is good.
Yeah.
That's why we love to hate them. Whitney's like, what? Me? Like, I don't know. And then she's a monster and you're like, how could she? Like, incredible. Demi is like, I want money.
Right.
You're like, you're too evil, Demi. But I have to say, I think my favorite thing about this season is that finally one of them discovered a bold lip. Now I'm sad it took Christmas for Demi to understand what red lipstick is, but just seeing one red lip on this muted Glossier palette.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I didn't think about it until you just noted that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it does just look muted. Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that it was, at least when I lived in Utah, is like just embedded in the culture that, like, red lipstick is for whores. You know what I mean? Which is such a dated thought.
Wow.
It's same. And so, but then you see it, you know what I mean? You see these, like, they're still, even though they're bucking so many of the traditional Mormon traditions, the culture is still there. They all have Utah waves. All of them.
Well, I have a friend who's Mormon in Salt Lake City, and she's like, listen, if they made a real show about real housewives that are Mormons, it'd be so boring. It'd be like, we pick up our kids, we drop them off, we like run through college essays. She said, you know, they are another breed. They're like this influencer Mormon adjacent population. And she said most people can't even relate to them.
No, that's absolutely true. And there's what I loved about this season is that there were at least moments where you actually got into Mormonism, like when they're in when they're in New Orleans, that none of them can pronounce except for Michaela watched Princess Tiana.
Yeah.
And so she's like, New Orleans. Anyways, when they're there, it is Layla, poor Layla. She's just the producer's stump pony. They're like, here, hand out pregnancy tests. And she's like, sure. Like, she just has no role in the show.
I don't like this thing that they're doing. I feel like this is on social media too, like handing out pregnancy tests. And then there's the big like glass filled with it. Like, how upsetting is that if you think about that in broad context? Like, women that struggle with fertility, like, what are you doing? So gross.
Also, that's not Layla's idea. It's not a game she plays. That was like producers being like, fuck, nothing happened in New Orleans.
You guys like babies. Let's just
like they clearly knew Macy and Michaela were pregnant, and like they were like, this will be fun. And Layla will do whatever the producer wants because of Layla's childhood. Layla's just trying to find love. And but when they're there, Layla says like, oh, I would go through the temple for my boyfriend to get married because he's a bishop's son. It's very important to him. First, let's note one thing. Layla, I don't think they're going to allow that. Like, you have to have a temple recommends. And like, I just can't imagine you're going to get it back. But okay, fine. You're going to go through the temple for him. Then Demi goes, oh, you don't actually believe in it. You're just doing it for him. And then you turn to Demi and you're like, bitch, when did you become Mormon again? Like, you're so like unbelievable. Yeah. But Demi has a temple bag in season 1. So it's like, and Brett is clearly like, he was a golden Mormon boy. But I'm like, Demi, do you still have are you still allowed in the temple? I was just like, this is crazy. Maybe they are still kind of holding on to this. And then Demi's like, then Jesse's like, well, you guys, I don't know if I believe in the Book of Mormon. They're scandalized. And then Jesse says, because we didn't have phones back then. So how do we know?
What?
And I said, wow, Jesse, great point. Great point, Jesse. There weren't phones back then. So how do we know if the Book of Mormon is real and Joseph really got the Mormon plates? On the money.
Money.
But then they talk about how you get sealed to your kids through like the temple. I'm not saying the words are, but like through the temple ceremony, you get sealed to your kids. And that's how you see them in one of the Mormon heavens, which are like different planets and things like that. And now I forget which one it is, but one of them is still sealed to her ex-husband. And I think maybe it was, but anyways, basically that like, they're like, well, I don't like, why can't I be sealed to the man I love? Like, why when I'm going to Mormon heaven, I have to be with my ex-husband. So there's like an amount of belief of like, oh my God, I'm still sealed to him. I'm going to see him in heaven. And how fucked up it is, right? That like, they can't get unsealed to him. Also, you have to, in order to be sealed to your children, the father, like a man has to be a part of that to be sealed to your children in heaven, or else like a bunch of things have to happen in order to get you sealed to them. So I know that sounds complicated because also like I never became a Mormon. So like, I'm sure I'm missing some context, but I love seeing that in the show of them grappling with like, wait a minute, we're making money. We're celebrities. We're the breadwinners. But like, I can't be sealed to my kids in Mormon heaven because of how this religion works, because I need a man and like I'm divorced from him. And so seeing them deal with that, I'm like, bring more of that in. Like, they are still struggling with Mormonism culturally, even if their lives fully don't reflect the majority of Mormon women in Utah.
Right. Well, if anything, it's just the good thing is it's a conversation starter. If you're not just talking about the complexities of this particular faith, it at least opens the door to other conversations about your own belief systems.
Totally. Yeah. And so this is so crazy. My book is coming out in paperback, which I'm so thrilled.
Which is an absolute must read. I was thinking on my walk yesterday about talking about your mom's best friend. And there was one line in it about how she was the person that showed you how to use tampons, and
That's
just laughing like a guttural laugh. It was like the funniest line I'd ever read.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you. Okay. So it's coming out paperback. And so I get to add some bonus content. And like my favorite thing in memoirs is I want people to do like, where are they now?
Yeah.
Like, tell me where are they now? And so now it's been a year, right? So I decided to look up my Mormon best friend who I went to LDS church with, I went every Sunday for like 6 to 8 years. Like, I mean, and she was like my family. And so I was like, wait, where is she now? And I had never found her because she got married when she was 17 and has a new last name. But then I had this vague memory of maybe, I think her and her older sister, they married brothers.
Oh.
And I remembered who the sister married. And so then I found her new last name, right? And I'm like, I gotta find her. I just want to know what she's up to now.
Yeah.
I am not fucking kidding you. I'm going to send you these videos. She is a full-blown ballerina farm.
Oh.
She is making she's making sourdough bread from starter in giant prairie dresses, barefoot on the homestead, going off the grid, curing illness with
like herbs.
No, not even herbs, just with like growing your own carrots. And she's an influencer. What? She had a lot of followers. You
gotta talk to her.
No, I really loved her as a kid. I don't want this version of our lives.
But I want you to talk to her.
She would never talk to me. Not only when I was growing up, but when the book was coming out, I did a road trip back through all the houses I had lived in as a kid for, I don't know, just a fun ride through trauma. And there were polygamists all around us when I was growing up. And I'm talking like there's a certain hairstyle. Did you see Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey?
Not only that, I interviewed Alyssa Wall.
Okay, yes. So, but do you remember that distinct look of like how their hair has
French
to be?
Braid and
they're all in the same
dress.
Yeah, and they all get like fabric and bulk and they all wear the same. And it looks like an old world. That type of polygamist. Like their children's choir, the polygamous children's choir would perform at our mall. No big deal. Like we know they live in the Red Rock Mountains. The police don't, it's illegal, but like they don't touch it. Like Utah is like, we're good with it when I was growing up.
Right.
So I went back being like, surely that's not a thriving community still. No, saw a ton of them.
Wow.
And so that's to say, like, I don't know, but I do know that like, just because the world has grown, there are still people who are living a fundamental,
it sounds like it.
Mormon life. And they would say LDS. They don't, the Mormon church has asked the church not to be called Mormon anymore. They want to be called the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Okay. This is my favorite time of the year. Outside activities like hiking, swimming, and sports. I'm going to be spending a lot of time at the beach and the pool, and it's more important than ever to be hydrated. It's peak hydration season, and Liquid IV is the perfect companion for your hottest summer plans. They've just launched an exhilarating new flavor, Arctic Raspberry. Plus, Liquid IV has sugar-free solutions for smart hydration. You can explore the delicious sugar-free options including white peach, lemon lime, rainbow sherbet, and more. Plus, discover more fun flavors like cotton candy or popsicle firecracker. Just one stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. An optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. No matter what your summer brings, tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at liquidiv.com. I'm really excited about my latest sponsor, Shocks. You guys are going to want to hear this. If you're constantly listening to content like me, you might be listening on headphones that have the noise cancellation feature. And that's cool when you're in a crowded place. But when you're going about your day-to-day, noise-canceling headphones can feel like you're in a black hole. It's isolating. Shocks headphones are here to solve that for you. Their innovative open-ear headphones let you stay both present and immersed at the same time. And Shocks is the leader and pioneer in open-ear technology, so the audio quality is incredible. I absolutely love the Open Fit 2 for all-day comfort, whether I'm on a walk, multitasking around the house, taking calls while doing carpools, or jumping into the latest docuseries. Visit shocks.com, that's SHOKZ.com, and use the code Kate Casey for $10 off your order. Stay tuned, stay open with Shocks. The other doc that you and I were fired up about was the Judd family one. I cried my face off.
Me too.
They are the most complicated family, and I love them all.
Tell me your thoughts on it. I haven't gotten to hear your take on it.
Okay. I think it's heartbreaking, the trauma that Naomi must have faced as a small child. And I think it forever just totally changed the trajectory of her life in such a way that she would make hellacious romantic choices. The fact that she kept secret the identity of Wynona's father and that the whole family was like complicit is so beyond my ability to reason. But I feel like once you see the story kind of like explained to you, you see it began with her, or probably even her parents, and some, this unending cycle of abuse. And my mom used to say about certain people, like, they didn't have a chance. Mm-hmm. And that's what I kind of felt about Naomi, like listening to her story. Like, she didn't have a chance. The fact that her grandmother's brother was assaulting women in the family, and they just were asked to kind of like go about their day, is not only heartbreaking, it's infuriating. So I just don't know how she would have been equipped to be a good parent from the very beginning. And it feels like it gets worse and worse. But then I have such empathy for her. I get so torn.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you said she didn't have a chance, which is true, and became one of the most famous country singers.
Like storytellers too. She was a great
that was her
writer.
gift, because she actually wasn't a good singer. That's my opinion. Sorry, I'll stand by it. But like, she's oohing and ahhing as Wynonna sings their career off. I love this family so much. I also cried. I think they are my favorite family in history. I think my favorite podcast episode we ever did was we did Naomi's memoir, Ashley's memoir, and Wynonna's memoir. It's like a true crime episode.
Yeah.
But you're just solving a family, because in Naomi's memoir, she retells the lie about Wynonna's father that she held her whole life. Like, she lies in print of who Wynonna's dad is, how she was conceived, all that stuff. In Wynonna's book, she has found out that was a lie. Right. And then Wynonna and Naomi and Ashley have exact same memories of like the Chanticleer house and this time when Wynonna was sent away and like kicked out of the house and told not to come back. And all three of them write about it completely differently. Yeah. And it's incredible. And I think Naomi is prone to lying to cover things up and try and do the sale.
Because young girls that are abused tend to do that.
Well, and also she's like, I think what I love the most about this family is like, by looking at them, I've actually like healed a lot of stuff that like I've dealt with too. And that like,
I agree.
You can look at Naomi and be like, you're the worst mom in the fucking world. Truly. Mm-hmm. You can also look at her and be like, you were doing your best.
Yep.
That was really the best she had. She had undiagnosed bipolar disorder. She got pregnant and was kicked out of her house and was going to perish. And so she did the smartest thing she could, which is find a guy in the country club and tell him it was his. Right. And then the shame around that lie creates, this is your dad for Wynonna, right? Like and I think it helps you forgive your mom's mistakes. If you have a mom who may have done something really fucked up, to go back and be like, you're just a child. Mm-hmm. You're an abused child who's doing their best and trying their best for you. And I think, but then it goes into things like, Wynonna had to struggle with her weight her whole life, and Ashley's the beautiful one, and Naomi's the beautiful one, and the thin one. And then this bitch had a different dad the whole time. But you grew up being like, why don't I look like the other two? Why is my body not acting like the other two? Why am I struggling? And listen, as somebody who also found out her dad was not her real dad, thankfully mine was at 14. It's like, fuck. There's a reason why like I don't look exactly like my mom, you know?
Yeah. I had the
Anyways.
opposite because I was told there's a possibility that he might not be my dad. And then I found out he is my dad.
Oh my God. Meanwhile, you're over here hoping and dreaming.
I was.
Maybe
I was
it's
like,
not him.
I asked my mom, I was like, just be honest. Did you have an affair with Robert Redford? Because there's no judgment. And she's like, I'm really sorry, but he's really your dad. But my sister was like, Uncle Richard's probably your dad because you do not look like me and you don't look like him.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Anything that fucks with your identity as a child is like so.
Well, that's what I think I really loved about it is it's an honest it's a heartbreaking and honest depiction of the complexities of identity for women. And when you grow up in a family with sisters and you've add the added component of like their celebrities, they're all just wrestling with their own identities throughout this long, very long, complicated. I don't know if there's a better word than complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like oh God, it's just like an endlessly fascinating trio of like, Ashley wasn't a part of the duo. She's kicked out of it, right? But then she becomes an Oscar winning actress, you know, or nominated actress in her own right. But then it's like, even going back to like Naomi and Winona, like those aren't their real names. And Naomi knew that they were not going to be successful country singers with, what was it? Christina Claire.
And what was Diana.
Right. And she's just like, shit, I'm trying to sell us as country singers, right?
She's a great marketer.
Great marketer. Let's change these names, right? But then tries to sell it of like, we needed a change and blah, blah, blah. But then like Winona over here is a fucking high schooler getting her identity changed and shoved in front to be the singer and performer of something she never had the heart to do. It's incredible.
The part that broke me was when Naomi is passed and then Ashley just talks about the moment of being with her mother's body and like giving her such grace after
Ashley has
ended her
really
life. And
gone
I just
through
thought,
therapy. Yeah.
Wow, this is like so profound. And I was thinking, I wish so many people watch this because I feel like it could heal them.
I agree. And also it's like Oprah dragged those women into so many episodes of like, let's do family therapy, right? Like they've been through so much. And this feels like the first, like we've really centered the truth of this story and centered Ashley and Winona's voice in this story.
Well, you know, I interviewed the director.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So what did they say?
She did point out that to me, that she said it was very hard for Winona to come on board because she felt like she had just been bamboozled with that Oprah project.
Yes. Over and over again. And also like Winona, a lot of her memoir is getting into that Oprah life coach weight loss scam. And like Ashley's, like, Naomi's book is thick, dense, high word count. Ashley gives you the juice in 4 chapters because she really wants you to read about the problems in Africa, which is a huge continent.
Because she's, by the way, trying to heal the rest of the world because she can't heal her family.
Exactly. And it's a book about doing charity work. And then it has 4 salacious chapters so that she could sell the book. And Winona's book, thin, smallest word count, could barely get in. She cannot access her emotions because of what was done to her. And the only way she gets through the book is that like Oprah comes in her life and is like, I'll help you lose weight. So like, it's pretty fucked.
Yeah. God, I just kept thinking, I want to go to that farm and hang out with them.
I know. Okay, but then they have that beautiful, like, we own 3 farmhouses, you know, and we can like, what do? They take, I'll ride my lawnmower over to Naomi's for breakfast, you know?
Well, I looked at Winona's Instagram the other day and she is on the farm at the pond and she's with her husband and there looks like grandkids hanging out. And, you know, it boggles your mind that like they find that piece of land peaceful when it's been the spot where they've all lived and there's been so much chaos.
Winona also, like, her previous husband, I'm pretty sure is in jail for assaulting her children. I don't I'm going to say allegedly, because I don't necessarily want to get that wrong. Because you know what I actually remember the most about Winona? This is how fucked up my brain is. At our live show, I found her wedding photos. And the men she marries, their names are always unreal. It's like Cactus Moser.
Yes.
But anyways, the thing that I couldn't get over is that she wears the exact same wedding dress and hair to all the weddings. And I've studied it so much. I do believe it is a new wedding dress. It's not the same wedding dress, but it's like V-neck, lace, bell sleeves, like A-line, like the same
you know
cut, the same. Yeah, because it's flattering.
But she was a performer, and that's what the stylist is like, this is the most flattering look for you.
But I also think, listen, you also know how much I love weddings. I also think it's like she is in the same place with herself, her heart, and her identity each time.
Got it. Yeah.
Like that you've got to, it's not that I'm judging the dress, it's that I'm judging like, where's your growth at? And what are you bringing to this specific relationship? Or are we just like repeating? Are we just like being like, whoopsie daisy, here's a new one?
You know what I kept thinking too? Man, I want to go out for drinks with Dario Franchitti. Remember? That was Ashley's husband, the Scottish race driver. I was like, he's got stories.
She is the godmother to his children with his new wife.
She is not.
Yes, bitch. That is another favorite part of the episode. Yes, she is. Mm-hmm.
She is like something else. Like, wow. And so someone told me, was it you? Somebody told me that she's now got a boyfriend who's a professor at Harvard University and lives in Boston. Oh, the director told me that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know that. And that's amazing. I love that for her. She's an incredible human. Incredible human.
Super happy in a relationship with a professor at Harvard. They live in Boston. Oh, I said the filming with her. I don't know where you filmed. That was the most beautiful place I've ever seen with the fire in the background. She said, oh, that's our house in Boston.
Yeah. I'm so happy for her.
I mean, don't you want to be friends with these women?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I love them more than anything. I love them more than anything. Yeah.
I just want them to be so happy. I mean, in the years to come, I'm sure Winona's children will have stories to tell too.
Yeah. They've been through a lot.
Yeah. So we highly recommend watching that Judd documentary.
Highly recommend. It's on Lifetime.
Yeah. And what was the other thing that the director, I said, I just love these women so much. She said, I know. I just love them so much. She said that one of the most rewarding experiences of that project was going back to the town in which Diana, Naomi, grew up. And she said, it's the most magical, for lack of a better term, place where everybody is so into music. Like you pull into the town and it's like quilts like drying, on the front porch, and everyone's got a guitar and everyone's singing. And she said, you just get a sense that is why music is such a big part of their family, because it really began with Diana's childhood. That's so beautiful. Yeah.
God,
she did a
I want to go
job.
rewatch it now. Yeah, she crushed it.
Yeah, she crushed it. Okay, well, tell everybody what you've got going on the podcast and in your life in general. The paperback, tell them about that.
Okay, well, my book, I shouldn't be telling you this, it's a memoir, comes out in paperback in January, but it's out now. It's been out for a year. Truly wild. And my podcast, Glamorous Trash, we just did the Hilaria Baldwin episode. I will say, like, in our archives is the Judd's episode. That's one I think you should definitely listen to. And then coming up, I think in a week and a half, is our Christy Brinkley episode, which, listen, I wasn't wildly excited. I was just like, okay, sure. It is like one of my favorites. It's the craziest.
Well, I was supposed to interview her, possibly. I was in touch with her publicist, and then they didn't seem interested. I was like,
I don't think she really wanted to do publicity for the book because, and here's the thing, I'm not necessarily recommending the book. Like, if I wasn't reading it for my podcast, I would have DNF'd. However, is it the funniest, wildest, craziest episode? Because you start like untangling things. My guest, this little genius, made an Excel spreadsheet of the ages and dates in which she was with each man because it's not in the book, right?
Yeah.
In the book, you're just like, oh my God, her love life is wild. But my guest, Nicole, amazing. She was so confused that she made it herself. And then as we're going through the episode, we're like, wait a minute. So it's literally like that guy dies and And 3 weeks later, we're engaged to Billy Joel. Like the overlaps are unbelievable.
And the Peter Cook story, is that just a wild ride too?
Oh my God. Yes.
Remember, everybody was like, how could he cheat on like one of the most beautiful women that walk the earth?
Well, not only that, but when I went to so he called Christy the cash cow for years.
Awful.
This is, by the way, Peter Cook is her fourth husband. And the amount
there was the one with the skiing. They got married on the ski slopes, right?
That's right. But like the amount of horrors this woman has been through in the 3 marriages, right? So you're like, so surely this fourth marriage is just gonna be a nice, normal guy. No, somehow the fourth one's the worst. It's unbelievable. And this is the craziest part. So I go looking up the new wife. And for like 5 minutes, I think I found the new wife. But what I've really found is he loves Christy for a younger woman, but that woman's gone. And the woman he cheated on that woman with is the woman I found, who, in just looking up photos, she literally looks exactly like Jamie Lynn Spears. Ooh. And then every month gets a giant amount of plastic surgery. So by the time you get to their wedding photos where he married a 20-year-old.
I remember that.
And he's like 70. She looks like Mar-a-Lago face. Every woman, like she has like giant lip. Like it looks like a different
lady
human.
of Palm Beach. Yes.
Yes. It is like
a wealthy woman has access to a surgeon
still,
that will do work every week.
But she's still 22 years old. Suddenly she looks like a beautiful 45-year-old because she's had so much work done.
Yeah.
Her body has changed. Like it's like he married 2 different women. But yeah, she's like 50 years younger than him. It's a ride.
Wow. All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
I love you so much. Tell everyone where they can find you.
I'm at Chelsea DeVantez on Instagram. That's where I book club books and post things. And yeah, my podcast, Glamorous Trash. Come on over, give it a listen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my fantastic guest and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review and join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. Also, I've got bonus episodes on Apple Podcasts and Patreon, patreon.com/Kate Casey. I just posted one, a true crime story that is about a couple who both have partners that have passed away. And I feel like we have to monitor it. So make sure you check out the bonus podcast for that. And then also make sure you get that what to watch list at katecasey.substack.com. You've got to make sure that you subscribe to it so you get it in your inbox every Monday. And then finally, follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KatecaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode. Tomorrow I've got Patrick Hickey joining me, and we're going to talk about that Ocean Gate Netflix doc and Real Housewives of Miami.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.